Now, the sixth lesson that Tony Blair shared with us is change is the hardest thing. Again, I mentioned one thing is constant, and that is change. Now, as humans, I tend to assume that we're lazy. So one thing that's hardest to change is change. So every time you want to change something, everyone around you will be critics. They'll say things like, it's going to be a disaster, we will not support you. I personally went through the experience when you're testing out a new project. Nobody believes you, but when the project becomes a success, everybody jumps into the bandwagon and say, hey, I've helped you in that project. So I think the point I'm trying to make here, quoting from Tony Blair, that is, change is the hardest thing to do. Recognize that, but do not submit to that. Challenge the status quo, give value. Because when people see value, believe me, you will lead them to change. Now, the seventh lesson is success is about creating great partnerships between individuals. And I agree with that. When you walk out of any conference, when you walk out of university, the most important thing is that you connect with people. And, there's a theory that you may not know someone that you need to know, but I may know that person. Now, if you have managed to connect with me and I trust you, what is stopping me from introducing that person to you, which would help you fulfill your goal? So think about that. Success is about having great partnerships, getting to know people, and not betraying their trust. Think about that. The eighth lesson here is partnerships and prejudice cannot coexist. If you need to work with the person, you need to learn how to trust the person. If you need mentors, you need to trust your mentors. If you feel that there's a feeling of prejudice, you either have two alternatives: mend it, or just say, I'm sorry, I believe there's no chemistry for us to work together. Again, the eighth lesson here that Tony Blair wants to share with us is partnerships and prejudice cannot coexist. So remember that, trust. Now, the ninth lesson here is success is not about doing something. It's more than that. It's about believing in something and knowing that that belief will add value to something bigger. Tony Blair equates here that values matter a lot. Successful people are single-minded in their purpose, but they are not self-centered. This is very true. In order for any of our ventures to grow, any of our dreams, the attainment of our goals, we need to also consider, the needs of others and how others could collaborate and contribute together with us. We shouldn't be selfish to think, I would like to eliminate competition, because when you think merely about eliminating competition, you put yourself in a stressful state. Why not ask yourself, how do I collaborate? And how do I add value? That's the ninth lesson. Success is not merely about doing something, it's about believing in something and adding value to it. Now, the last lesson that Tony Blair wanted to share with us is have a sense of optimism in whatever you do. Well, I don't have a lot to say about this, but it's simple. You will not succeed if you have not tasted failure. Why? Because whenever you do something new, when you do something out of your comfort zone, of course there is a risk of failing. But if you're not optimistic towards attaining those goals, you will never ever start with that something new. And when you never start with that something new, you have failed. You haven't even started, so how would you gain success from it? So there you go. The last lesson, have a sense of optimism in whatever you do. Trust yourself, trust your abilities. If not, get people that you trust, work with them, collaborate, create something that's bigger than your life. And there you go. That's my alarm clock telling me that it's time to go to sleep before I become all zombie-ish. But yeah, my last lesson for you, shared by Tony Blair as well. Always believe that you can lead in whatever you do to a greater good. Have that mindset. Have that optimism. So this is Michael Teoh signing off. Again, this is off the cuff. Just wanted to share this great bucket of knowledge with you, and hopefully you would use this to actually make that first change in your life. Hey, start by trying to absorb these 10 principles and practice it in your next work, like right now, after this. This is Michael Teoh signing off. Good night, all the youths and everybody else watching this video.